Hi there, GuruRed here, and today I'm going to show you how to put Raspbian on your Raspberry Pi, any model. So, let's get started. First thing you're going to need is the Raspberry Pi OS, known as Raspbian. So, just go to www.raspberrypi.org, as you can see up here, and click Downloads, then click Raspbian, then click Download the zip. So make sure you get Raspbian Jessie with Pixel rather than Raspbian Jessie Lite. The major difference is the desktop, so if you get the regular Raspbian image, you can boot it up to a visual desktop, otherwise it's the command line. There's a little bit of difference in what programs you get and the size of the disk image, but just, 9 times out of 10, just get regular Jessie. So you click Download Zip. This can take quite a while. Thankfully I have already done this for you, or for us even. So, when you've finished downloading, just, extract it, click extract all, blah blah blah, extract it into a folder, and you'll get a disk image, which is very useful. Next thing we'll need is a tool to burn that image onto our SD card. So, there's lots of different ways to do this. You might have used Win32 Disk Imager, you might have tools on Mac, you might use command line tools on Linux, but I find Etcher.io is a really easy way to do it on anything you've got. I have different machines, I have Linux desktops, I have use my family's Mac now and then, and I just like using one tool and then it's just always the same process and it's just easier. So just click download and it should download you the tool. Should be pretty quick depending on your internet, and then you just run the installer, so that'll be done in about a few seconds. But one thing you will need as well is you'll obviously need your SD card and an SD card reader. I heavily recommend the Samsung 32 Evo Plus, just because it's got really good read and write speeds. It's been well reviewed in other places. I'll add some links under the video so you can read that for yourself at your leisure, and it's just quite reliable. I find it really, really useful for just running lots of Pis for a long time. You also need a reader. I recommend a USB 2 micro SD card reader like this. So you can see here it's really small. You just plug your micro SD card in and you stick that into a USB port on your computer and bam, away you go. Just a little note, if you're going to buy accessories for Raspberry Pi, Pi Hut, Pimoroni and Mod My Pi, all really good, and if you buy stuff from there you know it's from people who use Pis day in day out, so it's going to be stuff that works rather than a super cheap thing off Amazon or eBay, which you don't really know how well it's going to work with your stuff. Cool, so once you've got all that put together and your tool has installed, Etcher.io is ready, just install it. I'm sure we've installed stuff before. There we go. So, why is Etcher running? There we go, so it's already just giving us errors for no reason. Okay, but it did install. There we go. And boom, so now you'll have this little tool. So this is super simple, simplest UI I've seen for flashing disk images. You can see it's picked up the drive I've already installed, which is, you can see here, the E drive. I've already got a copy of Raspbian on here, but I'm going to just write over it just to show you how it all works. So you select your disk image, which, as you remember, we downloaded and we extracted into here. So your disk images usually end with IMG. Bear in mind, there are other ways to do this, but just generally you want a disk image file, and anything you download off the Raspberry website generally is an IMG. You open that, it selects a drive for you, which is nice. You can change it by clicking here, but it's the only one I've got plugged in, so it's just the one that comes up. Yep. And then you click flash. So this can take quite a while. I'm using Qual, relatively small card, just to show you how it all works. And depending on the quality of your card, your write speeds will be very different. So the card I mentioned before, the Samsung, quite good write speed, but the card I'm using here, not so good. I think it's a class 6 rather than a class 10, so you get about a 6 meg write speed. So you can see that's going to take 11 minutes, which is a really, really, really long time. So I'll just mention some other bits and bobs, and then I'll skip ahead. So the important thing to remember is when it finishes writing, there'll be two parts of the SD card, a bit that Linux machines can see, your Raspberry Pi can see, and a bit all machines can see. Officially this is known as the FAT32 partition. Don't worry about it too much, it's just the bit you're going to be able to see on Windows, and that, fortunately, and very conveniently, is where all the configuration stuff is. So if you want to set up your Wi-Fi, you want to set up, you want to enable SSH, which you have to do manually now for security reasons. You want to just configure what resolution the Pi boots at. You don't have to do that, it's quite good at automatically picking it up, but just in case you had a specific case where you wanted it to boot at a certain resolution, you can do that all through the configs that are in that part. So I'm just going to skip ahead this part of the video, and then I'll show you how to set up the configurations, and then we'll be done. Right, we've skipped ahead a bit here, and you can see we're now at the end of burning our image to the disk, and you can see how it all looks. Finishes up. Takes a little while because it's just checking a few things. Right, and then your flash is complete, so we are all good. Now, just show you what I was talking about before. If we go into our disk, which should be here. There we go. You can see it's just called it boot, which is fine, who cares. You can see if we look at the partitions, it's 41 out of 62 megabytes. That's because it's made two partitions, like I said earlier. One is the one Windows can see, and the one you want to be editing the configs on, and the other is the actual whole OS. That's why it's so small, so don't worry about that. You go in here, we can see here's all the wonderful bits and bobs, that make the Raspberry Pi work. A cool thing about Raspbian, the way I've installed it, is you can run it on any Pi, as I mentioned earlier. So this image, I could pop this in a Pi 3 and it would work fine. I could pop it in a Pi 2 or an original Raspberry Pi, the one with just 2 USB ports, whatever. Pi 0, it's all the same. It's really great how the Raspberry Pi Foundation make it so easy to work with your devices. Now the bits you want to sort out would be in your config, so your config.txt, which is just, as you can see, just right there. Cool. So there's lots of things in here. Again, if you wanna know what they actually all do, go to this address, the Raspberry Pi org documentation site. It'll tell you what's going on. But basically, you can see here, I can change things. Like I can overclock my Pi. I can change the HDMI settings, etc. So there's lots of things you'd want to do here if you want to get a bit custom. Another thing you'd probably want to do, if you want to SSH, which is remoting in via the command line, then you're going to need to add a SSH file. All you do to do that, just create an empty text file and just call it nothing but SSH. Doesn't matter. All you're doing here is setting a little flag to the system when it boots up. Do I have this file? If so, enable SSH. Otherwise, I won't, which can be a real pain if you're setting this up remotely somewhere and you want to remote in as the first thing you do. If you're connecting this to a TV, you probably don't want to worry about that, but it depends what project you're using your Pi for. There we go, bam, and it's fine. And the super bits and bobs, you can do configs for Wi-Fi, but that's a little out of scope for this video. So we're all good, we're all done. Last thing to do is we want to close this. We want to be good people, close down our etcher. We want to eject our USB mass storage just for safety. There we go, ejected. Now I can pull the adapter out, stick it in my Pi, and away I go. Okay, so that's how to install Raspbian on your Raspberry Pi, any model. And thank you for watching. Bye.